Hola Unconventionals, I'm Amelia.
And I'm JP, and we're sharing our unconventional life with you from Olón, Ecuador. We didn't want this to be our first video from Olón. We did record our move to Olón from Cuenca, and we will be sharing that video later this week. But first, we have a more pressing issue to address.
Yes, unfortunately, there was an article that was written in CuencaHighLife about Paradise Indian Restaurant and us, and it was incorrect. And we feel like it has damaged our credibility and our reputation, and we need to address that.
We were in the middle of moving, so we haven't had time to respond until now.
And we know that the author was trying to be nice. I think he really appreciates Chinu and Abin and their delicious cooking. But unfortunately, I don't know if there was a language barrier or what, but he just did not have the facts straight. And we had a lot of people then starting to question us.
Yeah, since Friday, we've had a lot of people send us messages, and even a close friend of ours asked us why, when he started reading the article, his initial thought was, why haven't we been telling the truth about Chinu and Evan? So, but then as he read on, he realized that the rest of it was false too, so he started believing us again.
Right.
So if it happens to a close friend of ours, we can assume that other people who don't know us as well would question our credibility too.
Right, and obviously we cannot have that.
Nope, because that's one thing that we hold dear is our credibility and our integrity.
We did send a list of the errors to CuencaHighLife as soon as we read the article, and they did make some of the corrections over the last couple of days.
Yeah, they've changed several things over the last few days, but most people don't go back and read an article on a news source to see if it has changed. And they didn't issue a correction, they just changed the original article. So we need to make sure that people know that that article has been changed, and there's still a few errors in it. Starting with listing us as the investors. We don't have that kind of money. We were not the investors, and we don't want to take credit for something because we're really, really thankful for Paul, who we featured in a video about the grand opening of the restaurant, and he was in there and cut the ribbon. That was the investor, Paul. Thank you so much, Paul. You're awesome. We're so very thankful that you helped Chinu and Ebby out. Without your help, they may not have been able to open their restaurant.
Yeah, we're so grateful for him, and we provide support in the form of going and eating there.
Yeah,
and featuring them in
our videos. Yeah.
But we were not able to provide any financial support.
No, we're still paying off our own debt.
Yeah.
from student loans and medical bills and everything else.
In the article, it implied that Chinu left because she felt that southern India was unsafe, and I know she was upset about that. Well, I shouldn't speak for Chinu. We were upset about that. We did not feel like we were unsafe in southern India and Kerala.
Well, and Chinu has since told us that she received a bunch of messages and phone calls from her friends and family saying, I can't believe you would say that you left India because it's unsafe. And they were pretty unhappy with her, but according to her, what she said was that she likes Ecuador because it's safe.
Right.
She didn't leave India because it was unsafe. So I think that was probably a language barrier issue in the understanding.
Yeah.
But again, if we were not contacted for this article, and we were featured in it, we were happy to answer any questions or do an interview. We get contacted by hundreds of people a week now. The author could have reached out to us like those people do, and we would have been happy. I try to respond to everyone, and for an article in CuencaHighLife, I would have been eager. We would have both been very eager to help with that article.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we felt very safe when we were visiting Kerala, and we went to several different cities.
Yeah.
And there were people walking alone. And
yeah, we saw women walking at night alone. In fact, I'll put a link to our playlist right there so that you can go watch our playlist from India, from our trip there. We went there for Chinu's wedding.
Yes, we did.
And it was an experience of a lifetime, and we already want to go back.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, so the next error is that Chinu and Ebby did not know each other in India. They met here in Cuenca.
Right.
They met at a restaurant that we featured in several previous videos.
Yeah, we're not going to...
Yeah, we're not going to go into detail over that, but there was no cup of coffee where they decided to leave the dangers of India for the safety of Ecuador. That didn't happen.
No, and they also didn't go to the United States.
Yeah, that's the next error, is that they never went to the U.S. When Chinu boarded the plane to come here, she thought she was going to the U.S., but they landed in Guayaquil.
Yes.
And it was a bit of a Shanghai situation. She didn't quite know she didn't have the full truth from the agency that she worked with. And she got here and she made the most of it.
Yep. And they're so happy.
They are. We just love them to death.
Yes, we do.
And Ebby came here specifically to work in his cousin's restaurant. So there was, he came here for a specific reason. He never tried to go to America. So it's...
Well, not that we know of.
Yeah, well, not that we know of. So there was no racial bias that busted their trip or their plans in America. It's not true.
They also did not have a home delivery service or cook out of their house. They do catering, so that could be where some of that confusion came from.
And the restaurant where they used to work also catered and did home deliveries.
Yeah.
But that wasn't their business, and they didn't work out of their house. It was a restaurant.
The original picture that they featured in the CuencaHighLife showed a picture of the two of us and Chinu and her nephew Francis, and it was listed as Abin.
Yeah, the caption said Abin, and that was Francis, her nephew. All right, so the next error is that we didn't meet over a vegan meal prepared by Evan. I guess it was technically prepared by Evan, but that's not really how it happened. Amelia hated Indian food in the States, and so I convinced her to try Indian here in Cuenca, and she went on Gringo Post and found some reviews, and so we went to the old restaurant where they worked, and the food was awesome, but we really kept going back because of Chinu.
Yeah, she was such an amazing person, and we enjoyed her company so much, and she's so sweet, and that's how we really got to know her. And then, 2 to 3 times a week.
Yeah. we were hanging out with Chinu.
Yes.
And their food is amazing, but Chinu's personality and beautiful spirit is really why we kept going back. And I think why a lot of people keep going back there.
I would agree with that.
Alicia has joined us.
Yes.
So Chinu actually invited us to her wedding about 6 months before we launched our YouTube channel. So we were already really good friends long before we had a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And we really hit it off. And by then we had met Abby. Most of the time he was in the kitchen cooking, so we didn't really know him very well in the beginning. So our YouTube channel really had no bearing on our friendship with them.
There was a quote in the article that said middle-aged magic knocked on their door. That would be us.
That would be us. First of all, we had nothing to do with their success. And we've helped promote them a little bit, but really it's Chinu's personality and Ebby's cooking, and Chinu's just as good a cook too.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
both amazing cooks. And so is Francis. Francis is actually a trained chef. So they are all amazing cooks, and Chinu's personality had already built up all the relationships with people who were eager to follow them to their new restaurant.
Yeah.
So we cannot claim credit for it magically knocking on their door and helping them be successful.
The middle-aged part was a little painful, but it is true.
I guess that's true. But is it really relevant to the story? Aren't you supposed to not talk about age and race and weight, body weight, if it's not relevant to the story? I don't know. That seemed a little harsh. I guess it's technically true, though.
It's true.
And we actually have had more comments about that line than even the credibility issue. So many people have been razzing us about being middle-aged.
I know.
Apparently, no one else thinks of us that way either, but I guess the author did.
That's hilarious. I think it's hilarious.
It is funny.
But it is a little painful.
Yeah. Again, we know their heart was in the right place. They really wanted to help out Paradise. It's a new restaurant, and it's an amazing restaurant. So we don't want to take away from that.
No, definitely not. But again, we can't have this contradictory information out there.
Yeah. And we, like I said, we were available to be contacted. We would have been very happy to speak with the author and to help clear up any confusion from maybe the language barriers or whatever, but we weren't contacted, so we didn't have a chance to help correct this before it was published.
Yeah, we were pretty surprised when we saw that.
Yeah, we were very, very surprised.
Yes.
All right, I think that's all we have for this video. If you see any negative comments about us on social media and questioning our credibility and our integrity, please share this video with them. If you know somebody who's read it, share it with them, so that they get the real story and so that our reputation isn't harmed anymore by this article. So we really appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we'll see you all in our next video. From Alone. Ciao.
Ciao.